What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man who is already getting himself hyped up, getting himself on a caffeine high, and that is the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you, Jeff?
Johnny boy!
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood today, so just letting you know ahead of time. And I don't mean you personally. I mean to everybody.
Bro, I got to tell you something. You're always in a mood.
No, this one, well, a man's got to defend himself in life.
Guys, Representative McGarvey is calling me. Should I take it?
Who is that?
Representative McGarvey.
Oh, yeah. Please vote for me in the upcoming election.
Who the fuck are these guys?
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Hot Mic. We're going to be diving into a lot of things from the world of entertainment. Of course, we're going to talk about the big stories that are going on here with Marvel here on the precipice of Comic-Con. Tonight is the like the soft opening tonight. You can go walk the floor for a few hours tonight if you've got a badge and you're in San Diego. But tomorrow is the official opening of Comic-Con. We've got a Deadpool and Wolverine panel tomorrow there, Jeff. You've got a Celebration of Life panel there. And then you've got a big Marvel panel coming up on Saturday. Last official panel of the day that day. And then we get into that Kevin Smith stuff. So a lot of stuff to be talking about here. We got some new trailers. We've got some drama on the Euphoria set with your boy Sam Levinson. Ladies and gentlemen. And then we've also got stuff going on in the world with movies and TV as well. But what's going on with you, man? Where are you at right now? Where's your feeling, brother? Where are you at, man? Where's your life? Tell us about your world, man.
What? I mean, you know, another missed Comic-Con for me. I thought that this might be the year because the Crow is going, supposedly.
Yeah, the Crow's going to be there.
I'd always said I'm only going to Comic-Con if the Crow's going to be there, but no one's invited me to do anything with the Crow. So you know what? You guys have your fun. The Crow will come out in a few weeks. We'll talk about it then.
Oh.
Yeah, I expect a lot of announcements to come out of Marvel.
Yes.
I expect a little bit of news here and there, although not the news that we seem to be hyping up in the thumbnail. What is this Spider-Man 4 stuff? What are you talking about? Everyone, I'm getting texts. People are like, Rocha's blowing up your Spider-Man 4 scoop. I'm like, what scoop?
There is no scoop. What scoop are you talking about?
I don't know. Yeah,
so there's just Spider-Man 4 news in the news, and we'll talk about that here from Kevin Feige. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, you all know how this works. Streamlabs Super Chats are open. Send in your love. Already seeing some Super Chats. Already seeing some Streamlabs coming through. Keep sending in the love. You see the Streamlabs address right above Jeff's head. You know how to do Super Chats by now, for the love of God. So what we're talking about here right off the bat is the Spider-Man 4 stuff. This is what I'm here with Kevin Feige. He said this week that it looks like John Watts will not be coming back to direct Spider-Man 4. He is doing interviews all over the place. He just did an interview for Inverse. He did an interview for Collider, one of the most softball interviews I ever read for Kevin Feige. And he's done interviews all over the place talking about the state of Marvel. He hinted that there's a new Werewolf by Night type of show coming and one of those special presentations. But Spider-Man 4, he said, John Watts, it looks like he's not going to come back to do a Spider-Man 4. And from what I've heard from a couple of my sources is that Justin Lin was possibly in contention, but Marvel's not looking to jump on that in that direction just yet. But your thoughts, Jeff? Spider-Man 4, do you think it's going to be announced here at Hall H? And he keeps saying there's going to be a script sooner rather than later. What do you hear is happening? Can you say?
There's no Spider-Man 4 news. I'm told that they're waiting for the new draft to come in before going out to any directors again. You know, I did write that last night, though, that, you know, Kevin seems to be giving all these interviews, right, with all these outlets, like you said, and intimating that, like, Spider-Man 4 is a ways off, right?
Yes.
But, like, the script could come in next weekend.
The script could come in tonight. What are you talking about?
Right. And then it's off to the races. And so when I look at Zendaya's schedule, again, we've been over this before, but if Euphoria is shooting in January and it's going to be a roughly 6-month shoot, that takes her through halfway through 2025.
Yeah.
And there's a Denis Villeneuve movie that THR believes to be Dune Messiah on the calendar for December 26th. If it's going to make that date, then it has to start filming in the second half of 2025. Right. So I just don't understand where Spider-Man 4 fits into Zendaya's schedule unless it shoots this year, right? Like later this year. It waits until 2026, which seems crazy. Or MJ's role is greatly reduced, so she's only needed on set for a couple of weeks next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what I'm wondering about is maybe she's not a big part of Spider-Man 4, right? I mean, they wiped her memory. Spoiler alert. They wiped her memory of Peter Parker. This allows him to now kind of create a new journey to go on that's not encumbered by MJ and Ned. And why are people obsessed with having him reconnect with MJ and Ned? He doesn't have to. This is a Spider-Man that is free of all those emotional connections. He can now kind of find his new way in the world. And isn't that a great way to open new characters and new storylines and bring in new actors to give this franchise, or this portion of the MCU franchise, some new blood and some new energy, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, I think it would benefit from that new energy, but it's like you have to keep in mind that like Tom Holland and Zendaya are also in a relationship, right? That you can't just like easily like cast her aside. In fact, she may be the bigger draw.
Yeah, right.
You know,
than Tom Holland. Oh, okay.
I mean, she's a bigger star than Tom Holland, obviously, right?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, Challengers did not blow the doors off the box office. So
I don't think anyone's going to see Spider-Man movies for MJ, for the adventures of MJ, but Zendaya is a much bigger star than Tom Holland, just objectively speaking.
Okay. I mean, you're the lead of one of the biggest franchises in the MCU and playing one of the biggest characters in the world of Marvel, period.
It would hurt to lose her. It doesn't matter. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it would hurt to lose her unless she was replaced by like Jenna Ortega or something. Or
ironically, Sydney Sweeney, her Euphoria co-star. A lot of people speculating she might come into the mix in some way.
I don't know about that. So, you know, I think, yeah, they're waiting to see the script that comes in, and then they'll figure out the best director for that script.
Right. This is what Kevin Feige said to Cinema Blend. We love John. John did 3 of the best Spider-Man films ever for us. He's got lots of things going on now, so we'll probably be looking for somebody else just because he's busy. Right? And some people are saying, well, he said this 2 months ago. No, John didn't specifically, concretely say no. He had said that there's a lot of things going on, and we'd have to see what happened in the future. Kevin is clearly saying they're moving on from John Watts.
I mean, if I'm John Watts, I think it's time to move on too. I think it's time to graduate. You've done 3 of these movies. It's time to give somebody else a turn. You can still maintain an EP credit on it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that they could go back to him like Marvel did with the Russos.
Well, yeah,
I suppose. Where it's just like there's only so many people who can handle a production of this size, and obviously the actors trust John Watts. But yeah, I think it's time to move on. I don't see it as the same situation.
Well, he also talked about Blade. Kevin Feige did in these interviews, and this was with Black Tree TV. I never even heard of Black Tree TV, so shout out to them for getting a Kevin Feige interview. He said, talking about Blade, for the last 2 years, as we've been trying to crack that movie, the most important thing for us is not rushing it, making sure we are making the right Blade movie. You know, we're on the precipice of Comic-Con here, Jeff, and it was 5 years ago that this Blade movie was announced. It was back when I was still going to Comic-Con consistently for for the full 4 days. So I know that was a long time. It was pre-COVID that we announced Blade, and we're still having trouble cracking this thing. And he said there were some great Blade movies years ago that were all rated R. So just like Deadpool, I think being rated R is inherent with the character of Blade. And now I know you think I'm crazy with the Jordan Peele thing but do you think he's going to announce a director for Blade, a new director for Blade, which seems to be building this hype machine here slowly, that he's going to announce something at Comic-Con and it would be the new director for Blade? Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible, but I think it would also be very tough to keep it under wraps given all the stuff that has leaked on Blade. Like, you know, if there is a director on Blade, it would be, very tough, I think, to keep that secret. That doesn't mean that there won't be any news, because obviously some things do escape the attention of us trade reporters or whatever. But I don't anticipate a Blade director announcement being made.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, because I know you've got a newsletter, you've got scoops you need to drop. So if you want to say no comment, feel free. But if you're lying to me, I'm going to find you and I'm going to print out your newsletter. And put
No lies. You know, I'm a terrible liar. So, no, I think the Russo brothers was the last big, earth-shattering, movement.
Right. Let's bring that up again.
And there will be more, but
Sure.
they're not going to rush those decisions just so they can announce them by Comic-Con.
Right. Now, he also talked about Eternals in these interviews, and he was talking to Inverse on this one, as I mentioned earlier. This is what he said about Eternals. There are no immediate plans for Eternals 2. There are, and I think you've seen maybe in a trailer that we released recently, of course, referencing the Captain America 4 trailer, an acknowledgement of some of those events. Certain giant things came out of the ocean. So I saw a lot of people get very upset that there's not going to be an Eternals 2. Is this pretty much just him confirming it, and where people need to put away this idea of that there's going to be a sequel to Eternals?
Yeah, they don't make sequels to movies that nobody cared about, nobody likes. I mean, come on. And I know somebody's out there. Oh, well, I loved Eternals. Nobody is. Come on.
Not enough of you exist
Catch y'all
to force them to make a sequel. Not enough. I mean, there's make no Solo 2 happen has been a hashtag for how many years, and they've never even remotely considered making Solo 2 happen. So,
yeah, I'd be shocked.
Right. Exactly. All right. What else do you know? Anything you want to say about the Marvel stuff? Anything more? I mean, he talked a little bit more about Robert Downey Jr., whether he would come back or not, which is the big conversation as well. Certainly with Deadpool Wolverine coming out, there's conversations about cameos or people coming back and all of that stuff that all people already know is is a part of the movie. So do you see anything else? Like what do you anticipate with the Marvel? Do you think this is going to be a much more subdued thing and people are hyping themselves up that Kevin's going to introduce this massive thing? Because he said in the article with Frosty, he said like the fact that we have hundreds of Fox characters, the fact that we're trying to plan out for the next 5 years, 6 years, we have storylines with X-Men. And
I could see them announcing like a Midnight Suns movie. I do think that they're looking for a writer for a Midnight Suns movie. Yeah.
Okay. But you don't think it's going to be anything overwhelmingly massive?
No, like I don't think it you're not going to get a new Kang announcement or anything. I think you could get some like release date shuffles.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they keep announcing release dates for movies that don't have scripts. I mean, that seems like it's time to learn a lesson. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be. I'm not expecting any major earthquakes, but there should be a steady stream of news
going in during the Marvel panel.
Which is when? By the way, when is it?
It's at I think 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock rather on Saturday. It's 5 or 6 o'clock on Saturday. One of those two times. Because I know that What's His Face's panel, Kevin Smith's panel's at 7. So I imagine it's probably 5 to 6:30 is the panel. Hour and a half, I would imagine. With that. So we'll see. Let's see what else have anything else you got going on, or should we move on from Marvel? Well, this section of Marvel.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
What's next on the list?
Okay, let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, the review. You want to do it this early? Should we talk about it?
John, how could you like this movie?
Loved this movie. It's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So suck it, Jeff Sneider.
Certified fresh? Is it really?
Yes. Certified fresh.
Not on Metacritic. But the more discerning Metacritic.
Don't be snooty. Don't be.
Dude.
Oh, a corporate. Oh. Give me a break with some of these comments.
Are you seeing who they're letting on Rotten Tomatoes these days? Like I saw the wave of notifications that went around a week or two ago. It was like so ridiculous. It was people with like 300 Twitter followers who were like, I've been writing, into a void for the last 7 years, and I finally got it.
How dare you? How dare you come for these people? They worked hard to be in this position. Come on.
Good for them. Yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers here in this conversation. It's going to be a non-spoiler review.
No spoilers? Okay.
No spoilers. No, we can't spoil it. This isn't even out. We can't spoil it.
All right. So how did this movie live up to your expectations?
Oh, well, I think because I thought the jokes were hilarious for the most part. Yeah, there were a couple that didn't land or were a little strange, sure. But overall, I thought there was some really inventive comedy, situational comedy of what was going on. I thought Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman each had fantastic moments to show that they could bring real emotion to their roles amidst the madness of what was going on in this movie. Let's see. I thought the cameos worked really well. I was surprised. There's one cameo that I was fucking shocked, just utterly shocked, was in the movie. And I like that each of them gets their chance to shine, that there's extended time with them, which I was really surprised by, because sometimes they do little cameos and throw them away. I just loved that. I also liked, I wished, though I do say the criticism I have is that it feels like 5 to 8 minutes, a little long in the middle, like it drags a little bit in the middle. I wish the Cassandra Nova villain thing had been built up a little bit more strongly. Although she does one thing that will fuck up your sinuses for the rest of your life. And then what else would I say that's a slight criticism? I think that's probably it. But I thought it was inventive, very funny, and it was irreverent as hell how it went after Disney and Marvel. Like it did not spare Disney or Marvel at all. So yeah, that's my overall feelings about it. Yeah.
I mean, and you were a fan of the other two movies, right?
Not the second one. I liked the first one. I did not like. I thought the second one was kind of half and half. I loved the first one though.
I mean, again, I haven't liked any of these movies, so I didn't really expect this one to be for me, but I did go into it with an open mind thinking, okay, it's, you know, it's Wolverine, maybe this is a little bit different. It's Deadpool's first MCU movie.
Right.
It was the same. Everything was the same. Even like the fight scenes were all the same in this movie. I thought the action was pretty weak. I don't think that visuals, you know, a real strength of Sean Levy. I think that Sean Levy's strength is the emotion and like the heart that he brings to it. And there is some heart to this movie.
Totally.
You know, as someone who like works alone, right? You know, from home, I miss being part of a newsroom and part of a team. And that's what a big part of this movie is that Deadpool knows that he's special and wants to be part of the Avengers, but he's been operating in his own little corner of the universe.
Right.
And he wants to be part of something bigger than himself. So, you know, when he teams up with Wolverine and they're jumping through Doctor Strange portals together and stuff, I like that. That was a cool visual. There is heart when it's like, you know, him and Dogpool.
Yeah. That's so sweet.
But like when people are like, oh, this movie made me cry, I'm like, what about it made you cry? Like, is it just the awe of seeing these characters finally together or fighting each other for the first? Like, what is it?
Well, I mean, there is this idea that gets pushed throughout the film of like reappreciating the people around you, understanding how important your world actually is, and that there's an effort you have to make in order to be a part of the world, and sacrifices you have to make within yourself in order to create space for this world that you want to build, you know, and you want to be a part of. So I think that's what maybe moved some people by the end of the movie. But I think Hugh Jackman got me hard in a couple of moments.
Hugh Jackman was good. Like, you know, he's great as Wolverine. You know, both of these guys are these characters.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The difference is that everyone, you know, fucking Wolverine is beloved the world over, and Deadpool, I just find so obnoxious, just on like a molecular level. I cannot stand the character shtick, and he beats every joke into the ground.
I don't understand. I mean, it is so crazy to me that this is essentially you as a superhero, and you do not like this person. I just find that to be so.
He's obnoxious, maybe people find me obnoxious, but like I liked. There are obviously a lot of meta jokes in this.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a Gossip Girl joke that I liked because you have to know who starred in Gossip Girl to get it. Okay.
Yes.
Then there's another joke made about Blake. Then then there's, you know, where he can't start the action sequence at the end without saying Maximum Effort, which is the name of his production company. I mean, it's just one thing after another. He pisses on the fire. Okay, that's when you know there's a good joke going, and then he just keeps beating like a dead horse. He's pissing on the fire, man.
That's the whole character from the comics.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Okay.
I just find that like I hate movies that like treat me like a sucker and know that they're treating me like a sucker. Like, you know, they're winking at me while they're fucking me, if you will. Like,
okay.
Like, you know, they're like, listen, the multiverse movies are terrible, right?
Yeah.
or you know, and it's like they're winking at you, like this is just more of the same garbage. I can't wait for this chapter to be over.
Is that where the corporate anger comes from? Like, you know, Whitney Seibold, who I enjoy as a critic. I like reading his stuff, even when we don't agree most of the time. Like, when I call out the corporate thing, he was kind of upset about it. Is that what you guys are talking about? The corporate thing is like, you feel like the movie was used to Disney go, wink, wink, we know what you're upset about and we get it. And so by being in on the joke, they've removed their responsibility for what they created. Is that what you sense?
It's just like the whole movie's one big jerk off, right? But it's telling you, hey, this movie's a whole big jerk off. Like,
yeah,
and you're here paying for it, and then you're loving it because it's like, wow, they're making fun of me. They're so meta, but I find the whole thing to be ridiculous.
All right. Fair point. Well, clearly you're not alone, because there are some critics who did not like the movie or thought it was a bit of a. But
why use this movie to say goodbye to a group of movies, right? The Fox universe.
Yes.
That no one was like, well, hey, these guys need a proper funeral or a proper eulogy. No one wanted this. No one cared.
No one. What for the? Don't calm down. Don't.
I'm not moving into spoiler territory, but I'm just like, obviously the Fox X-Men universe plays a big part of this.
Yes.
So it's just like, how in 2024
right. Yes.
is Aaron Stanford's Pyro like the fourth build person in this movie? That's insane.
You just want to keep it. You just want to keep it as limited as possible, and you want to save money on the budget, I would imagine, Jeff. So yeah, it's the Marvel Fox universe. It's the Fox Marvel universe, right? So
I wish this movie had an appropriate villain too. I just feel like the villain is like too serious.
That's what I was saying. Like, that it felt like, I don't know if they got the villain 100% right, even though I think Emma Corrin did a fantastic job for what they were given and the screen time they were given. I thought they did a great job. I love seeing them work, but like, there should have been more here. Overall, I would definitely have that criticism, but I enjoyed what we got from her. But maybe you're right, a villain that's a little more, but then they would have removed the stakes, Jeff. If you have a villain that's having
what
fun.
Stakes? What are the stakes here? It's like the Time Ripper is going to delete your world.
Giving stuff away.
How am I giving? This is like general plot stuff.
It's not okay. All right, fine.
This is general plot stuff.
I take no responsibility for what Jeff is going to say.
Spoiler alert, in the comic book movie, guys, the world is being threatened.
Yeah.
Timelines are being threatened with deletion.
It's in
my god.
It's in the
But
trailer.
it's like when there's a zillion timelines and a zillion worlds and universes, and you can hop to any one of them at any moment. Who gives a shit? Okay? When oh my god, Wolverine is fighting Deadpool. Who's going to win? Who gives a shit? They're two characters who can regenerate. They're just stabbing each other over and over and over and over and over. And 2 seconds later, everybody's fine.
Fair point. Yeah, all that's in the trailer. You're right. My apologies, guys. I haven't watched the trailers recently, so yeah, I do remember that's in the trailer. So yeah, so that's just Joe. Calm your ass down. All right. Any final overall? Because we're not going to agree, obviously. But do you want to? I don't want to talk more into it because I'm afraid you'll let something slip. So.
Whatever. We'll talk about it we can come back next week and talk about all the cameos and
I'm happy
how fucking dumb they were.
You're insane. All right, let's move on. Well, a film that has done well. What about Twisters, man? What about this box office for Twisters? You got to be super impressed for this, Jeff. I mean, was it 20 million over what was projected, and it's still going strong? What are your thoughts?
Again, this is another like game that the trade's been playing for ages that the reporters are, fine playing. Okay. I mean, the studio is the one lowballing itself, saying, I don't know, only looking to make 50 or 55 this weekend, so that when it makes 80, it can be like, holy shit, look at the overperformance. The marketing was amazing. Our exec's brilliant. How did we do it? That's literally every fucking movie these days.
So you don't think that they?
I think tracking cannot be trusted. Tracking can't be trusted. Box office reporters can't be trusted. Studios giving estimates can't be trusted. No, it's all questionable. It's all none of it matters.
Because it was supposed to, I mean, it was tracked at 50 to 55, ended up doing 81
Tracked by who?
by the people who are tracking these things.
By the Tyler Owens compared to Kate, someone inferior. You know,
wow.
A good tracker would have seen this kind of storm coming. Yes,
pun intended.
I don't know. But like, yes, it's hugely impressive. Whether they said, hey, this movie's going to gross 50 to 55 or 70 to 75, 80 at the end of the day is an impressive number.
Yeah.
And I think it speaks to the marketing, to Glen Powell's ascendancy, to making a movie by and for middle America, really.
Right.
I think middle America showed up to this movie in ways that it hasn't to a lot of other blockbusters, and that's because it was a reflection of them.
Yeah.
What did you think, John?
I haven't seen it yet. I was supposed to go a couple of days ago, and then somebody decided to step down for the presidency, so that consumed my entire Sunday. And then I was supposed to go today, but I was editing a bunch of things that ran over, so I'll be going to see it tomorrow. But I'm impressed, whether it's fake tracking or not. I'm impressed with what it's done. I think it has a lot of that Top Gun Maverick energy in that it appeals across the board, right? Red state, blue state, purple, whatever. It appeals to everybody. It appeals to multiple generations. And overall, it's a fun film from what I'm seeing from the reviews and a lot of my friends who've been telling me who went to go see it. So that tells me like they kind of captured this magic, because you do hear that people, how can I say this? I'm not trying to make anything political, but some of the conservative people are like, well, where's our movies in Hollywood? Where's our movies in Hollywood? And Hollywood clearly is moving. And I think a lot of areas of the country are trying to cater to that market again. And how are they going to do that? Right. So how do you you got to make movies like this that appeal across the board, that a lot of people can enjoy from multiple areas of the country. You said middle America and what have you. So this is the formula that I hope a lot of these studios are looking at and trying to capture in a bottle again, to make more movies like this that appeal to everybody. And I like, and you can still have the balance of films that have diversity points of views or want to have leads, but then make sure you make these kinds of films that are just across the board great for anybody,
I wrote a whole an analysis sort of on Monday about Twisters and what the men involved in Twisters could do next. I mean, I think, obviously Glen Powell is going to be, in a bunch of movies and things like that. But Lee Isaac Chung is the one who, this is like a game changer for him.
Yep.
So it's all about like what he wants to do next. Normally you make a movie like this and then you go make your little personal movie, but he's already done that with Minari. It's kind of how he started, right? Normally you have to earn that opportunity, but that's how he kind of started. So yeah, I put out a whole different bunch of ideas for him. I mean, Glen Powell's been talking about, Brian Grader's been talking about working with Glen Powell on a Backdraft movie.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Could Lee Isaac Chung be a good fit for that? Another, also involving natural disasters, kind of. I mean, fire. I know there was an arsonist in Backdraft. It wasn't a natural disaster, but fire, wind. You guys get see what I'm going for. And it's a reboot of a big '90s movie, and I don't know. It would just be an easy green light, I think.
Yeah.
Then there's things like I Am Legend 2, right? Where it's like Francis Lawrence. How is Francis Lawrence directing this movie? He's doing the Stephen King adaptation now, The Long Walk, that's just casting up. He has to deliver a Hunger Games movie by 2026. So when exactly is he supposed to do I Am Legend 2?
Yeah.
That could be something interesting. There's obviously a bunch of open assignments at Marvel that Lee Isaac Chung could be a good fit for. And I'm sure Universal and Warner Brothers would obviously love to have him back for a few different things. So very interested to see what he does after Twisters.
What do you do we call Glen Powell a box office star yet? Is he in that?
Yes.
Would you say that?
Absolutely, I would.
I mean, I thought that era was over. So is he maybe bringing it back in some way, or is this just kind of like residue of that era and he's attaching because he was in that Top Gun Maverick?
I think people really like him, and he's accessible, and he's the kind of guy who women want to sleep with and guys want to hang out with.
And
know,
he's now moved out of LA. He's moved out of LA now, according to that recent profile. So that makes him even more attractive to certain sections of the country.
But I'm just saying, like, even in a way that other movie stars aren't, like, okay, yeah, women want to have sex with Timothee Chalamet, but are guys like, oh, I really want to grab a beer with Timothee Chalamet?
No, I don't think a lot of guys.
I don't think so. But for Glen Powell, I think that they are, and I think that matters.
Yeah.
I think he's I do think he's a legit movie star.
He's got that. He's like a combo of McConaughey and Cruise.
Yeah,
you got that energy from him, in that you sense he's a down home boy, but he's got that kind of sterling smile. Do you know what I'm saying? Like Cruise has, and that desire. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you have coffee with Timothee Chalamet and some poet bar, and all of this shit. That's what you do with Chalamet. You don't go get a beer with Chalamet, for God's sakes. All right, what about Daisy Edgar Jones? Does she get any shine from this? Does she get to up her quota?
I think that she does. But I didn't get into that in the article. Like I wanted to keep the focus on the guys for this one. Like Anthony Ramos, he could be a movie star, but not taking roles like Javi. I had multiple conversations this week, including with Oyama, John.
Oh, Paul Oyama, nice.
Yeah, because we play basketball together, and Oyama and I were talking about how
is Oyama in Los Angeles now? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. We got to get him on the show for a fun little bit. I would love to.
Yeah, I'm down. But we were just talking about how this is like the third wheel role. It's a thankless role that Anthony Ramos signed on to here, and he can't keep taking roles like this if he wants to be a movie star. The movie star gets the girl.
Yeah.
And so then, if I'm Anthony Ramos, after this movie, you sign on to a movie where you are the lead and you tell your agent, I want to get the girl. And maybe you do, an indie movie that showcases your range a little bit more to show that you're not just Mr. Blockbuster.
Right. Yeah, that's a fair point. Because, I mean, in Transformers, he was like taking care of his sister and all of that was going on in his family. So it wasn't a romantic thing. So I agree with you. We've got to get that point with him because he's such a fantastic actor. All right, we're at 32 minutes. Let's take a break, Jeff. Wow, the show's going fast. Let's take a break, and on the other side, we'll jump into some trailers and your thoughts on James Wan and the Black Lagoon right after this. Paulo Yama, get on the show. I mean, I know you're 1-0. I'm 1-0 against you singles wise, but you can still be on the show, for God's sake. You can still be on the show. All right, let's move on to these trailers here, Jeff. Two big ones dropped recently here. We had the Joker 2 trailer. Let's deal with that. The first official trailer. We had a teaser trailer a few weeks ago, but this was the official trailer. Much more of the relationship and story here between Gaga's Harley Quinn and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Brendan Gleeson gets a little bit of a shout out in this one. Still no musical numbers necessarily, but certainly the vibe and the energy of this one feels like we're back in this world fully that Todd Phillips created back in 2019 or 18 with the Joker. Your thoughts here with this particular recent trailer?
I mean, I thought it looked good. I think the campaign still feels a little bit more muted than the original, which was really built on bombast.
Yes.
But now, I guess it's that Joker has been established in the marketplace.
Right.
So they're trying to sell this as something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Very much of the same world, but with this musical element on top of it. And I've heard great things about Lady Gaga. It sounds like they may be campaigning her for a supporting actress as opposed to lead.
Nice.
But I've heard that her performance is fantastic, and I have faith in Todd Phillips. I feel like they took the time to do this one right, as opposed to just rushing it out. When you think about, what Todd Phillips came from, which was The Hangover, where it's like that, movies wouldn't even come out before they were announcing new ones.
Right. The Hangover was like literally one right after the other.
Right.
Basically the same movie in each of the movies. Yeah. Okay. Anything more to say on that?
More on Joker? No, I anticipate it being an awards contender.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think Oscars for sure? No, I mean, does it? You get that vibe, that feeling that it's going to have some awards?
Yes, I mean, big shoes to fill, high expectations now, but I think it's a relatively weak year. we're seeing more and more additions, though. But I do think all these people will be in the mix.
Okay. The other trailer we got, a complete unknown, Timothee Chalamet as Bob Dylan. This is something we've been talking about on the hot mic for quite some time, Jeff. This film from James Mangold with Edward Norton in it and Elle Fanning. And in the end, I thought this trailer was good, but not great. But I liked that we're walking into this world of Dylan. I just don't buy Chalamet as Dylan fully yet. So, and I don't think the singing helped. So, what are your thoughts on this trailer? What do you think of this?
The singing sounded actually good, but it sounded like a blend, right? It sounded like a blend of his voice and Dylan. I don't know what they're doing there. I'd be very curious to hear Timmy sing live. I thought it looked okay.
Oh,
I'm not a huge Dylan guy. I think that he's really been romanticized by the generation above me. I don't this is a movie for the boomer generation. I don't see how kids being excited about seeing Timmy Chalamet as Bob Dylan. Mangold did a good job with the Johnny Cash movie, and I expect that this will be good as well. But I doubt it's going to be a home run.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little. I gotta say, I'm a little bit in your camp, because you look at this cast, you say Elle Fanning as Sylvie Russo, who I don't know much about. Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash. Monica Barbaro as Joan Baez. Dan Fogler as Albert Grossman. PJ Byrne as Harold Leventhal. Norbert Leo Butz, who I love, as Alan Lomax. Scoot as Woody Guthrie. And then Will Harrison as Bob Newman. It's a good cast.
Yeah,
but you're not going to tell me Monica Barbaro is going to bring Joan Baez to life. I just don't buy it. And so what I was sensing when I was watching this trailer is I was watching a play with these Hollywood actors playing dress up. And I didn't sense with that Elvis trailer. I was like, oh, fuck, Austin Butler really captured the essence of Elvis, right? With this trailer, I felt like they were playing dress up a little bit. Let's be our grandparents. And I didn't quite feel the magic that I was supposed to feel because I love Dylan, not worship, but I certainly love Dylan and his music. I just didn't get that energy that I would like to have gotten out of a trailer like that.
I didn't get that buzz either. I think, I know what you're talking about.
Right?
I didn't quite see it here myself.
Yeah, you got to sense it organically. And look, I love Mangold, as you said. Walk the Line. Certainly that racing movie he did, Ford vs. Ferrari, is fantastic. And I'll defend his Indiana Jones movie for the most part, but of course Logan. But this, I was hoping for more from this. Any other trailers you get a chance to watch this week? Did you watch that Vince Vaughn trailer? Bad Monkey or whatever it is?
Oh, I mean, I've had that screener.
Have you?
Months.
Right, on Apple.
Yeah. I've heard not very good things.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it myself.
Terrible. The trailer looked terrible, man. Terrible. Yeah. Bad jokes.
I mean, I'm not surprised that Apple's going to be cutting back on its content spend. I don't know if you read that in Bloomberg.
I have this on my list of topics to talk about.
They just don't. I mean, it's not that they have some good stuff and probably pretty high batting average, but there are some shows where it's just how did this make it past the censors? What is going on?
Yeah, you've got Ted Lasso, Slow Horses, Silo Foundation, For All Mankind, Severance, Shrinking, The Morning Show. Hijack did well. Loot, I think, is coming on. But Manhunt kind of came and went. The Ben Franklin thing kind of came and went. After Party was canceled after 2 seasons. Lessons of Chemistry getting attention. But yeah, there's a lot of these films, a lot of TV shows rather, but then films also where they're sinking a lot of money into this stuff. So I'm not surprised that they're kind of pulling it back because it seems to be too much, Jeff. It's oh, did you watch Sugar? I'm what the fuck is Sugar? Well, Dark Matter's on. Dark Presumed Innocent. What? There's.
Well, I feel like you need all these shows, right? You need all this stuff when you have a lot of people watching your service. Right. But when there's not a lot of people watching your service, right? When more people watch Netflix in one day than Apple TV Plus in a month.
Yeah.
Then it's well, why do we need all this stuff? Because, people are checking out the service, but it's not like this is their number one stop. So we don't need to have the breadth of programming that Netflix does. Let's take fewer shots and just make them really count. That's what I would do.
It's like what HBO does, right? Like, you know, when HBO is going to come out with a show and you're waiting for it, right? It doesn't mean that they don't come out with content, certainly, but the big stuff, that's what they're spending their money on. But it seems like Apple's spending their money on everything in high numbers. I guess they could, right? Because they have the money, but at some point you realize, like, we're wasting money here.
Very curious, you know, how people react to the presumed innocent finale.
Yeah. You got a chance to watch that.
I saw it last night. Yeah, I was a little disappointed considering, like, I thought that show was terrific. I don't think it quite stuck the landing. It'll be interesting to see what happens with season 2, whether they decide to bring back the whole cast, some of the cast, none of the cast, like, you know, whether they anthologize it like the White Lotus. We'll see.
Have you seen the original with Harrison, the film? I know it's written by Scott Turow, but did you see the film?
No, now I want to watch the movie, and I feel like I've been dodging, you know, because so many analyses of the finale have been talking about, well, you know, the ending compared to the movie, and I'm like, I don't want to know.
I wonder if the ending is different.
I think that it definitely is. I'm pretty sure.
That's why
I don't want to know,
because I know who does it in the movie. I didn't want to watch the series, but if they've changed it, now that gets me excited to watch.
Pretty sure it's different. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Poisonous Plants, though, you're absolutely right. Apple does need more horror movies, but it's like Apple doesn't want to be edgy. That's not Apple's way.
No.
Yeah.
They're trying to hit the 30-year-old person who goes to the coffee shop. That's who they're trying to hit. The 30 to 40-year-old who goes to the coffee shop.
But like Fly Me to the Moon, if you want to make a rom-com with ScarJo and Channing Tatum and have it be about like a marketing executive, that's fine.
Yeah.
Why is it about marketing the moon landing? Like, what? Have it be about like the lady behind like the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad for the Super Bowl or something. Like, it makes no sense. Some of the stories that these streamers decide to greenlight.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, let's move on to this James Wan story. You wrote about this in a newsletter. There's a new report over at Daniel RPK that indicates that James Wan, of course, recently the director of Aquaman, the Aquaman series, and The Conjuring, is attached to Helm, a new film adaptation of the Universal Pictures monster classic Creature from the Black Lagoon. The original from 1954, which I'm not sure if Jeff saw. I really like that original.
Did I see it? I had sex with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
What? Wait, what? Who are you referencing? I don't know who you're referencing. But what are your thoughts on this? You seemed to be skeptical that Mr. Wan would dive back into underwater again. What do you think?
I just don't see him actually doing this. I could see him producing it. I could see, you know, that, but I don't see him directing more creatures coming out of the water. And I know obviously this is very different than Aquaman, but I don't know. Seemed a little too easy to me.
But don't you think he'd go back, like going back to a smaller budget, a horror film, you know, maybe working out some of the stuff he couldn't do in Aquaman? Do you think he needs to do you think he needs to do a little brand saving here and do a film that like works, and going back to his horror roots would work, or no?
Yeah, no, I do. It makes sense that Universal would come to him with something like that, and that he might want to do a project of that size and scale.
Right. Okay.
Again, I was just surprised, given the Aquaman of it all, that he'd want to repeat himself. Not that like the ocean is the same as a lagoon, but I don't know. I just
is someone splitting hairs on the ocean and the lagoon? I feel like that.
I just can't. They seem very similar to me. I don't see it. I don't buy it.
Ooh. Jeff, breaking news. This is on Variety. About I guess 2 hours ago. The NBA is now officially going with Amazon, Disney, and NBC Universal. They rejected Warner Brother Discovery's last attempts to buy one section of the rights for themselves, but not the full package. So now this is going to happen.
Blah, blah, blah.
This changes everything. You don't think
this is like the Paramount Skydance merger story? This is like, call me when it's over. Call me when
it's over. I'm saying it's over. They're saying they signed the deal. 11 years, $76 billion, not million, billion, 76 billion over an 11-year period. It's set to start in the 2026 season for the NBA. And the league said Warner Brothers Discovery's most recent proposal did not match the terms, and therefore we have entered into a long-term agreement with Amazon. So Disney will retain the NBA Finals. Amazon will have global rights to 66 regular season NBA games, including a Black Friday game, and NBC Universal will show 100 national regular season games across NBC and Peacock. Now,
yeah, I just don't care.
But isn't this massive? Like, the fact that they're getting something this big can kind of fund other things here. I mean, NBC is relying on Peacock and the Olympics on Peacock to kind of keep Peacock afloat for a while. Do you think this kind of now signals a new dawn in sports broadcasting, that we're essentially going to streaming services?
Yes. No question. Yes. That all that stuff is moving to streaming. I mean, the money is insane.
76 billion, bro.
Yeah. But like, I don't care, you know, like obviously like sports rights are, you know, have a lot of value and mean a lot to Wall Street, but like to me, the consumer, I don't care whether the TNT does its studio show or whether I have to watch those guys on a different channel or only watch 2 of them. Like, just give me the fucking games.
All right. But then what if you can't get the games because you've got to subscribe? Like, people are mad that there's an NFL playoff game on Peacock. People were mad last year, or Prime Video. People were mad about this. So,
but who doesn't have Prime Video? I mean, who doesn't have these services?
A lot of people don't have these services, bro. A lot of people don't.
Well,
especially in this economy.
Yeah, then you got to watch 15 games a week instead of 16, you know?
They take that, Matt Nost. You only get to watch 15 games. All right, let's move on here, Jeff, to the story here. Sharon Stone has been cast as the villainess in Nobody 2, the sequel to Bob Odenkirk's film that he did there with the RZA and Christopher Lloyd, which I personally liked. So your thoughts, Jeff? Sharon Stone being a villain yet again.
I liked it. I mean, remember, because Sharon Stone was supposed to be the villain in Blue Beetle.
Yes, I remember that. Thank God.
By Susan Sarandon. So I want to see Sharon Stone get her villain on in a studio movie, and this seems like a fun one. I like that she's also sort of an age with Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
Right? They're peers.
Relative peers, yeah.
Maybe she'll be his ex, or maybe she'll be his handler, his old handler, the person who trained him. I don't know. But I do like the potential.
Yeah, she's 66 and he is 61. So yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Could have been someone who brought him in. That could be really interesting. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Nobody, that's a fun, Saturday afternoon, early evening watch. And you can just sit around and enjoy the hell out of that. Odenkirk is great. And it's just one of those kind of Liam Neeson type vehicles, but with a little more depth to it. So I highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it. So I love the idea that Sharon Stone's going to be in it. What else have we got here? Homicide coming to Peacock, Jeff. Our show from David Simon there and other people. What's your thoughts? Finally, the late great Andre Braugher leading the cast here. Kyle Secor, Yaphet Kotto, Melissa Leo, a very young Melissa Leo, Ned Beatty, Richard Belzer, an incredible Daniel Baldwin, an incredible cast throughout.
Reed Diamond,
yes, Reed Diamond. And I think Michelle Forbes, yes, doesn't she show up as like a love interest there? She's part of the.
I love Homicide. This is like a masterpiece of a show.
Yes.
It was so good. I used to watch it in middle school and stay home from middle school dances to watch it on because it was on Friday nights.
Wait, are you saying you stayed home or you didn't have a date to these middle school?
Don't worry, bro. Jeff Sneider was peak Jeff Sneider in middle school. That was like when things were. I was so cool. I could stay home. I could afford to miss dances and watch Homicide. So it was like, don't worry, ladies. I'll be back next week.
Pew, pew, pew.
To the end of the road. That's exactly what it was, dude. So anyways, Homicide is the shit. Andre Braugher's Frank Pembleton, one of the greatest TV detectives ever.
100%.
Love that this is coming to Homicide. Coming to Peacock. I do have the whole box set.
Throw it away.
I have had access to this on DVD, but
DVD, throw it away. If we're
throw it
getting
away,
4K,
never know.
4K versions, man.
This is a piece of physical media I will hang on to. But I did ask a friend. I was like, "So, dude, Homicide's coming to Peacock. You're gonna watch it?" And he's like, "How many seasons is that?" I was like, 7 seasons. He's like, "How many episodes per season?" I'm like 20 or so. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not watching that." 140-hour-long episode, dude. You gotta watch it. He was like, "Fuck that."
Just to correct Jeff a little bit. It's 122 episodes, but you are right, 7 seasons.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
The last 2 seasons they truncated the episode order because the ratings weren't quite there for it. But yeah, I mean, it's a murderer's row of character actors.
Yeah,
but it's a murderer's row of incredible actors and actresses involved in this, and it's like the precursor to so many of, like, it's precursor to The Wire, precursor to Law and Order. It's a precursor to so many great shows that people have enjoyed, and it came around the same time as NYPD Blue. These two were groundbreaking shows. Of course, Hill Street Blue is really the biggest one that kind of fed all these shows, but Homicide was an intelligent cop show, and one that you all, honestly, if for those of you who grew up with Andre Braugher from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this is a completely different Andre Braugher that you're going to experience here as a detective, a much more harder-edged Andre Braugher. I think some people are going to be shocked at the kind of Andre Braugher they get in this show when they've experienced him on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, but yeah, great. I mean, Giancarlo Esposito's in this thing. Callie Thorne, some really good actors throughout. Man, yeah, I was right. Michelle Forbes, of course. All right. So, anything more to say on that, Jeff? You looking forward? I mean, it's coming up soon. Coming out.
Just give it a chance, guys. Give it a few episodes. It's so good.
Yeah. Put it on your calendars, for God's sakes. It's a month from now, less than a month, August 19th. So, Jeff, maybe we should do a podcast where we just watch every episode and talk about it.
We're going to watch 122 episodes of Homicide.
Let's do it. We'll do it 1 minute at a time every episode. 1 minute of one episode every time. All right, what else? Oh, there was a new Jurassic World title, Jeff. Anything?
Rebirth.
Anything to you?
I'm just so sick of the returns, reloads, a million of them. They're all the same fucking title to me. Yeah, it's all the same. Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah. Are you going to dive into this? Like, where's your limit journalism wise, Jeff? There's a massive thing going on with the Murdochs in their particular empire right now. Is this something that you would explore and dive into in your newsletter, or is that a little bit farther than you might go? Because I mean,
I don't think anybody's reading my newsletter from my take on the Murdoch family. But what exactly do you mean? Like,
oh well, there's a Rupert Murdoch is fighting with 3 of his adult children over the control of the media empire here that they've built together, all of them. And it very much mirrors Succession, but this idea, I mean, because they have, you'd be surprised how many tentacles this empire has, and how many channels and how many production companies and how many studios are affected by what goes on here. So I just was
like Succession. I just don't care. Which Murdoch is going to wind up with control of the company, and which other Murdoch won't, but will still be a billionaire. Find out next week. I don't care.
Well, I mean, because his kids are more liberal than he is, and there's a fear here that they're going to make changes if they were to take over control, and Rupert's trying to stop it. So I didn't know if you'd explore that, because they have, Fox Core, all this stuff is connected in a way.
The only changes I'd like to see made are like news outlets, lose the political bias where this outlet is on the right and this outlet is more liberal. It's like, what if all news outlets were created equal?
I would love that.
Wouldn't that be great?
All news outlets matter. I love this idea. All right. Anything more you want to talk about, brother? Anything in your newsletter you want to make sure people are aware of? Any news items that you want to make sure we discuss on this show in particular? I'm trying to give you a window here.
No, I'm good. Let's get to these questions.
What? That's it. All right. I was looking through here to see if there's anything more, any other casting news that you're excited about, anything that's popped up for you. that you're down with?
There was nothing that earth shattering. I like the Zac Efron announcement this week about A24 doing a thriller from Jody Hill, who did Eastbound and Down.
Oh yeah,
Zac Efron's going to be playing like a celebrity, and then a fan of the celebrity who looks just like the celebrity, and all the trouble that can cause.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We got to talk about Euphoria, bro.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Euphoria, big part, big story that blew up here. Basically, there was issues between Zendaya and Sam Levinson, which apparently popped up during the season 2 shooting. And then when he moved on to The Idol with The Weeknd, there was battling interpretations of what was going on. Zendaya feeling like Sam Levinson wasn't really focused on what was going on for season 3, that he was dragging his feet on doing it, met with Casey Bloys and Francesca Orsi over there at HBO to force Sam to get on the ball and get these things done. Apparently it was not an amicable meeting, but then Sam's people came out blaming Zendaya, saying that she really wanted to go and be a movie star, so she was dragging her feet. She was the problem, not Sam. Sam's wife now taking over after the death of Sam's former partner there, which is highlighted in this article. And of course, the death of the young actor who was on Euphoria passing away. So, but it seems like they've put it all back together. Zendaya is no longer maybe afraid of her brand being sullied by Sam Levinson's drama, and they're going to start shooting in January. So, Jeff, what's your interpretation of this article? What do you take away from this madness?
Yeah, it was a weird article because it didn't really have any hard news. It was kind of just like gossipy. But I appreciated it. I mean, it was good, very well reported by Kim.
Yes, I agree. Yep.
Obviously, like, I don't think I knew that Kevin Turn had maybe split up with Sam prior to his death.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, the article seemed to hint that the split up may have been what brought on his heart attack.
It kind of did. I mean, it also said that Kevin liked to eat, which he did. He enjoyed nice dinners and going out and having fun and stuff. But like, it did sort of imply that, yeah, like this guy worked around the clock to serve Sam and make sure, his creative vision happened. And even on vacation, he would cater to Sam's needs. And it's terribly sad, obviously, what happened. I'm not going to blame Sam Levinson. He didn't kill Kevin. But yeah, naturally now Sam's wife has sort of taken over, and she has a very different style than Kevin. I think that there's two sides to every story, so I'm sure there is some truth to Zendaya wanting to go off and be a movie star. But again, the whole schedule of everything got thrown off with the strikes, the pandemic, Angus Cloud's death. The Idol, again, was shot 5.5 episodes out of 6, and then they reshot the whole thing with Sam Levinson coming in to rewrite and reshoot. So it's I get it.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And then there was also like the element of the weekend.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what?
No, finish your point. Sorry about that.
There was also just that element of the weekend with Kevin Turn wanting to go off and make this movie with the Weeknd, and Sam Levinson feeling like that's where their split came in, because it was like, well, I feel like you're not working on our projects,
right?
And not only that, but you're sort of taking our leading guy here, the Weeknd.
Right. I know someone's saying Jay Prod saying it's a Zendaya hit piece. I 100% disagree. I mean, Sam Levinson does not come out of this piece looking good. The allusions to the toxic workplace issues, 15 to 17 hours a day on set, which the article says is not usually a bad thing, but the fact that it was so disorganized was an issue. The fact that his wife is basically portrayed as like this a hard ass who defends her husband, which makes it more difficult to have any issues with her husband because you have to deal with her first. And so that's not what you want on a set. It makes it feel a little too
I mean, it's said that like, insiders were saying that Sam needs a producer who can tell him no. And that, like, it's tough to put a spouse in that kind of position.
Yeah. She's invested in, and look, after the Idol, but I think season 2 was apparently not received that well, even though it averaged 16 million viewers an episode. And then the Idol really crashed and burned, Jeff. So like, is he in a completely different position now going into this season 3? Like, if if he doesn't succeed in season 3, are we looking at Sam Levinson doing a Peacock show? Like, where are we at here with him?
I mean, I don't see that being a match made in heaven, but yeah, I think that there's a lot riding on this, for him from a creative perspective. He's got to stick the landing.
I want to put you on the spot. Like, is Sam Levinson's first season of Euphoria, is this the best he's ever going to do? Is there a real possibility that, because this is essentially what they imply in the article, his story as a drug abuser through Zendaya's character, that's what he was able to do? And of course, there's in the article also talks about that artist who came to work with him, that he essentially stole her lifestyle to make this show. It seems to imply that. I'm not saying he did that. I'm saying it implies that. So
yeah, that whole element I thought was ridiculous with the girl who's like, well, I've built this whole aesthetic.
Yeah.
She called it an aesthetic, and yeah. I mean, it was like, come on, give me a break.
This is what Petra Collins, a photographer. So that's what I'm wondering, if this was like Game of Thrones, where the source material was there for season 1, but it wasn't there for season 2, and the idol crashed and burned.
Season 2 was good. I don't know where this like revisionist history came up. Like, season 2 of Euphoria was really good.
It's in THR saying that. It's in THR saying that.
Well, I really enjoyed season 2 of Euphoria. I don't know what they're talking about.
All right. But like, is this it? Like, if he doesn't do a good job in season 3, do you start looking at him as a one-hit wonder? Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, he is a one-hit wonder right now, right? Until he has that second hit. But like, can't we just let this? I don't know. Like, has anybody asked us about the Duffer Brothers? Like, the Duffer Brothers don't stick the landing on this final season of Stranger Things. Is this it for them? Are they just one-hit wonders?
Well, no, it's different because the Duffers haven't had a crash and burn like the Idol. It's different. I think the Russos have, with like Cherry and Gray Man.
That's like your opinion, man. I think that the Idol was like the most daring television show to come out in the last few years, but people just didn't like it because it had sex and it had men taking advantage of women, or whatever it was that pissed off Twitter, which is like the last place to go for cultural commentary because everyone is ridiculous on Twitter.
But people just didn't like it at the end of the day. Didn't you just say that about Eternals? People just didn't like it. It's the same thing here.
And I can acknowledge that people just didn't like the Idol, but that's because they have bad taste. That's not like the Eternals. They didn't like that because it's bad. They don't like the Idol because they just have bad taste, and they're not used to it. It's foreign to them.
Ridiculous. All right. So anyway, let's wrap up here because we're going to jump into questions. Any final comments on this article, or any final comments on what you think might happen here with Zendaya? Do you think they're going to actually finish shooting this thing, or will it?
Yes, absolutely. It's way too valuable. I never understood all the rumors that like Euphoria was going to shut down.
Yeah,
because it was just way too. I mean, obviously, it's a scheduling nightmare with all those stars and their schedules, but way too valuable to HBO to pull the plug, and like it's still creatively humming. It's not like a show that has lost its juice.
Yeah, I don't know. Seems like it might have lost its juice in season 2. We'll see in season 3. Like, if they come back, hey, look, House of the Dragon was a massive hit. Season 2, the first episode underperformed, and so viewers wise, it's very possible Euphoria could debut with season 3, and people have moved on because we're supposed to believe these are high schoolers, and these are women in their late 20s by now, almost 30. So, just throwing it out there, Jeff, as a possibility. I know you love Sam. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. Anything more to say? Are we good?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll answer some Streamlabs super chats right after this. All right, Jeff, let's blaze through these comments, these Streamlabs super chats. Carlton Rudder, they're from London. London calling. Inside Out 2, and most likely soon Deadpool and Wolverine will join the $1 billion club. Any other films left this year? Do you see making that club?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you think Deadpool and Wolverine will make $1 billion now that you've seen it?
I don't know. I mean, yes, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, but I also have like, how could word of mouth be good about this movie?
There you go. Yeah, I think so. I don't think Despicable Me 4 is on track to go over $1 billion, so I don't think that would be there. Elusive Rock says, having seen Deadpool and Wolverine, do you have a better idea of what may be announced at San Diego Comic-Con? R.I.P. to the big man. Stay sweaty. That's right. John Schnapp. R.I.P. to John Schnapp, King Sweaty. I think we talked on this, Jeff, already. So should we move on? Do you have anything more to add to this?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that like anything that I saw in Deadpool and Wolverine is going to, have an impact on what might be announced at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Oliver 3748 says, got my tickets for Deadpool Wolverine. All I want is for Deadpool and Wolverine to kiss, and it'll get a great review from me. Have a great weekend, guys. They do put body parts together in some moments for sure.
Oliver, you should apply to be a critic on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, here we go. Ewok says, have you heard anything about Conclave? It looks good from the trailer. Also, when are we getting a trailer for the animated Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim? Yeah, I don't know. We're in July. That thing doesn't come out till like what, November or December? So
I'll tell you where you see that trailer.
Go ahead.
What movie that Warner Brothers is going to release in the next 2 months that could open to $100 million?
I don't know. What?
Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah. That's a good place to put it.
That's where I would put Lord of the Rings trailer.
Did you like the new Beetlejuice trailer? Did we talk about that last week? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think it looks pretty cool.
Conclave. Anything?
Conclave looks good too, man. I think Conclave is going to be a Best Picture nominee. It's a movie for adults.
Okay.
I dig it.
Daniel Emsby says, hi guys, Timmy has any Oscar chances? Oh, does Timmy have any Oscar chances with the Dylan biopic? And did you guys hear anything about Marty Supreme?
Marty Supreme! No, I haven't really heard much other than what has been announced. I do think that Timmy does have Oscar chances with the Bob Dylan biopic, more of like a nomination than a win. I don't really necessarily see him as a threat to win, but if he could get a lead actor nomination, that would be great. Yeah. He's kind of competing with himself in the Dune sequel, where I thought he was really good. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that most people think of that as like an awards play, but I thought he was really good. Yeah. It's a weak year for Best Actor.
Wow. Okay. So you think he is?
I do. I think he has a chance at a nomination. Yes.
All right. Dallas says, hey, Jeff, any new DC scoops you can share with us? Jeff, do you have anything?
Yes. The new Batman's Tom Cruise. I have no idea. I don't have anything for you guys. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll give you one thing. It's not Jeff approved. So it's me. So come at me if you want. But I hear something. I hear some names being thrown around, and this may be repetitive. I don't know. But I hear some names being thrown around for the Green Lantern show. Hal Jordan, I hear Miles Teller, Josh Hartnett, Channing Tatum, Alden Ehrenreich. Nothing groundbreaking there. John Stewart, maybe Damson Idris, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Aaron Pierre, or Aaron Moten. So I kind of like all those names, Jeff, in the mix for that. So Mickey Daw says, the Matt Reeves interview this week confirms that his Bat universe lives on and WB is invested. Trilogy confirmed, Jeff?
I don't want to say trilogy confirmed. No. Definitely Batman 2 confirmed. No, don't worry about that. I think you're going to get some. I know they're not really like hyping movies, Warner Brothers at Comic-Con, but I feel like Reeves is going to be there for like a Caped Crusader panel, and I wouldn't be surprised if some Batman news came out of that.
I need to watch. I got the screeners the other day from Amazon. I need to watch that. Mike Joyce says the Batman universe is called the Batman Epic Crime Saga. Lame. Can you think of a better name? Is that true? I didn't see that.
Bex. BECS, the Batman
Epic Crime
Saga. Why does it have to be the Epic Crime Saga? Why can't it just be the BCS?
Matt Reeves, DC, according to Entertainment Weekly, the Batman director Matt Reeves, alongside his producer, the first step. Okay. All right. The Batman Epic Crime Saga is separate to the DC universe. Oh, so that's what they're calling it. The Batman Epic Crime Saga, which is outside the DC universe. So the Matt Reeves stuff is all like Penguin.
So someone got $1 million to think of that branding. Some fucking marketing executive.
That's not a good name for it. Dallas says, hi, Jeff. There's a rumor that DC Studios is planning to break some news either at or during San Diego Comic-Con. Have you caught wind of what that might be? You should probably subscribe to Jeff's newsletter. Can I put that on the table, Jeff?
Yeah, do that for sure.
Where can you subscribe for your news?
TheInsnider.com. Maybe you'll find out who's going to be joining the Supergirl movie.
Ooh, there you go. Louis Carizales says Twisters or Deadpool or Wolverine this weekend. Which one? Well, Twister's already out. You should have already seen Twisters.
Twisters is the answer, Louis. If you haven't seen Twisters, Twisters is a more entertaining film and satisfying movie than Deadpool and Wolverine.
Hard disagree, but that's how it is.
By the way, wait, what did you think of the lack of a kiss, John?
I'm not saying
you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it, right? Spoiler alert. There's no kiss.
Yeah, apparently Spielberg is the one that told him to take the kiss out.
Nonsense.
What do you think about that?
I don't like it.
Spielberg trying to send
Let them kiss. Let them kiss, Steve.
Steve. You kissed Kate Capshaw you with Amy Irving, for God's sakes. All right, Media Left said Variety reported that DC Studios could be dropping news during San Diego Comic-Con, even though there is no panel. Have you heard anything regarding it? How many times are you going to ask this? I guess a lot of you, thank you for sending in the money, but I mean, Jeff's been very clear on this, that there's, maybe
I have no idea what any DC news could be. They're keeping a very tight lid on everything.
Mickey Dawes says, Jeff hearing reports that Skeleton Crew is not received well internally at Lucasfilm. Any dope Star Wars movie news soon? Yeah, I mean, guys, these aggregators, especially the toxic ones, don't listen to them. All right, what I said on Christian's show on Monday was that I'd heard from my sources at Star Wars, the ones who told me that John Boyega is going to be in returning to Star Wars, that they're concerned about Skeleton Crew. It does not mean they're concerned about the quality necessarily. It could be that they're concerned about how it's going to be received after the Acolyte. So that's all they've said, is they're concerned and that they're going to possibly delay live action TV series for some time. That's all. Jeff?
Haven't heard anything.
There you go. Chillmonger says, Kaczynski wrote Twisters. It would have been better if he'd also directed it. It lacked a certain energy that Jan de Bont brought the OG. You agree, Jeff?
I think that it could have maybe used someone who was a bit more fun, for lack of a better term. Not that Lee Isaac Chung did a bad job, and obviously it has proven hugely successful.
Right.
But if it had been a little bit more self-aware and had a little bit more of like the Meg type of energy to it, I think it could have been a little bit more fun. But I also get that this is also a very real thing that people lose their lives, their families, their homes.
Yeah.
So it can't just be played for laughs like a giant shark movie.
Lemmy Ward says, do you see any more studio M&A action over the coming year? What's M&A? Am I missing that?
M&A means mergers and acquisitions.
I
mean, again, I do think that Warner Brothers is going to sell.
Really?
I think that that Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi have not been very shy about disguising what the ultimate plan is for the studio. They're basically following their own MGM playbook, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Universal acquire Warner Brothers in the next 2 years.
Oh my God. Do we start the fuck all over again? Oh God.
Yeah, let's just rebuild this whole town from the ground up.
I'm just saying, DC would
Warner Brothers is in deep trouble. I mean, they're really struggling.
That's what I'm saying. You're going
forward. I think that in order to compete with Netflix and Amazon and the Apples of the world, Warner Brothers and Universal may have to join forces.
God, I hope they leave the DC intact if it's working. Trash Pants is Anthony Ramos.
That's what you have to say. I say Warner Brothers and Universal could be merging, and you say, "Well, I hope the DCU is okay."
I'm tired of them rebooting DC, bro. Every few years, it's a new approach, a new producers, new showrunner, new this or that. It's just so exhausting, man.
That's what happens when new people come in. I mean, what do you?
Yeah, but they keep coming in
for decades. You just want this. It's like I don't know. You just want it to be SNL with the same producer for 50 years.
No, I'm saying give us 20 years with the same crew, like we're seeing with Marvel. 20 years, and then you can make changes. But the fact you make changes every
20 years, and then you can make changes. Good luck finding an actor to sign that contract.
That's more of a overall executive producer. Anthony Ramos should lead a buddy comedy. Trash Panda. Okay, I guess. Sure. Not for much money. Mitch Jensen says, I don't know how much y'all care for Camp Schlock, but the Terrifier 3 trailer dropped today. Excited for October 11th. Curious if it makes the insane amount of profit the second one did. Anyway, y'all have a great week. Thanks. Jeff, this is a you question. I did not watch any of the Terrifier movies. I know it's a horror film.
Yeah, dude, I watched it. Like, I can't wait for this movie. I'm looking forward to it. Terrifier 2 was legitimately sick and fucked up and twisted, and I think that this one's going to make an absolute killing. The budget, I mean, the budget soared, but so did like the awareness of this franchise.
That's true. That's true. Josh Maver says Glen Powell has entered the cast him in everything realm, like with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence in the past. Do we have a legit new star, or will we get burnt out on him? I think that's a great question, Jeff. Do you think we'll get burnt out on Glen Powell? Look, let's be honest. Glen is not the greatest of actors. He's a good actor, very good actor. Certainly fits for these kind of big tentpole pictures. And certainly Anyone But You was fine. Hitman was fine. Those are fun throwaway things. But do you think he has the staying power of a Jennifer Lawrence, a double Oscar winner, or is he more in the Chris Pratt camp and we'll just kind of eventually get sick of it?
I think everyone has, a shelf life. I think Glen is striking while the iron is hot. I think a big part of it will depend on, how different the roles are from each other. Like if you're a chameleon, it's tough to get sick of you when you're playing a different character every time out. But if you're just playing the same character every time, then audiences can get sick of you.
Right.
And it's all about whether the movies are good.
Yeah.
If the movies are good, it's tough to get sick of that guy.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
So,
okay. Yeah. Sam O says, thoughts on the Conclave trailer as well as the Killer Remake trailer on Peacock. I didn't see the Killer Remake trailer, and I didn't see the Conclave. So, Jeff, do you see?
Yeah, I didn't watch the Killer Remake trailer either, although that whole project has me shaking my head. Like, why would he do that, and why do it for Peacock, and why do it with that cast? Like,
I agree. That's why I didn't watch the trailer.
Yeah, just because Lupin was a hit and the Untouchables was a hit. I mean, I don't think of Omar Sy as a movie star.
Lupin. Yeah, I was shocked, and plus John Woo at this advanced age trying to do kill. I mean, the kid, that's a young man's movie, The Killer. I have that on Blu-ray. It's one of my favorite fucking movies from his time in Hong Kong. There. Movie news covered. Will Young Avengers be a film or a show? Oh, probably a show. I can't imagine it being a film.
Yeah, it seems like a show to me. I mean, kids watching Disney Plus, they'd tune into that.
Michael Joyce says Michael Bay making a Skibbity toilet movie. What the fuck? I don't know what that is.
I think I'm gonna write about that. I don't know what the fuck that is, Mike Joyce. Like I saw the first video or the first clip or whatever from that web series. It's just like, yeah. To me, it was the quotes around in that story where it's like, this could be the new Marvel. This could be the new Lord of the Rings. It's like, you're telling me that a guy singing in a toilet is the new Marvel? Like, good luck with that, Adam Goodman.
February of 2023, Alexei Gerasimov uploaded an 11-second video to his YouTube channel, Da Fuck Boom, called Skibbity Toilet, which featured a head emerging from a toilet singing, which became a cultural phenomenon.
Really? Cultural phenomenon. You got to love this stuff, the way that the trade reporters, like, I've never heard of this thing before. Now it's a cultural phenomenon, and get in on it now because it could be the next Marvel tomorrow.
Yeah, the reason they're saying the Marvel thing is because this thing gradually evolved into 70 1 to 5 minute mini episodes, mini epics depicting the infinitely escalating war between the toilets and the cyborgs.
This is like someone like coming up with this for our podcast here, and it's like the hot mic has been chronicling the battles between the Rochas and the Sneiders for 200 episodes. I mean, it's like, come on.
Hey, if Michael Bay directed, I'll take that money right now. Love Daggerborn says, I know this has been talked to death. If the next Star Wars project fails at the box office or does not get enough people to watch the next show, do you think they will have a reorganization of their leadership? And have you heard anything about the status of Stargate? Do you think they will announce anything during Comic-Con? Jeff,
the status of Stargate.
I haven't heard anything on that.
Like Stargate SG-1 Stargate?
Yeah, like Stargate, the original film with Kurt Russell.
Who would so that would be Amazon MGM, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I mean, no, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, neither have I. And do you think the Star Wars, I think it's an untouchable brand. Like they'll fail and maybe the ratings won't be up that high, but they're going to constantly keep doing stuff. It's not like they're going to stop doing stuff. So let's see what else we got here. Keep going through these. Jake _ Jillian Hall says, Jeff, can you explain further why you don't think Presumed Innocent finale didn't stick the landing for you? No, he can't, because that's spoiler material, and he's not going to explain it on this show, for God's sake. So, Jeff, can you say it in a non-spoiler way?
I just think there's a difference between a twist and a reveal, and a twist is set up properly, and a reveal is just kind of like something that like catches you off guard and by surprise because they didn't really set it up. And they'll argue that they did, but no, it didn't work for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. ShadeX17 says, hi, Jeff and John. Great show as always. Thank you. What's your opinion on the THR report about a reported rift between Levinson and Zendaya? Do you think season 3 still gets made? Should it? I think we answered all those questions, Jeff. So
yeah, I think that they've healed that rift. Again, so much of this stuff, it was like all about, well, this happened with the idol and this happened. It was like, this is all 3 years ago at this point. Yeah. So it felt like ancient history to me in a way, which is maybe why people felt comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, maybe. Mike Maver says, great 94 draft a few weeks ago. Oh, 94 movies draft. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, was evergreen content we did for July 4th. Jeff and I drafting our favorite 10 films from 1994. Listed movies like Ace Ventura in a way that were enjoyable but panned by the critics when released. Were critics in the 90s too harsh compared to critics today, or are critics today?
Were they too harsh? No, they were just critics. Today's critics are too easy.
There's too much connected to access. Too many critics are afraid of losing access. Yes. And it becomes frustrating when you read it. And it's obvious. Like some of those acolyte reviews from some of those sites, I was like, come on, guys. You're seeing exactly what we're seeing. And you're bending over backwards so that Filoni comes on your show or Leslie Headland comes on your show. And you're just like, come on. There's legitimate criticism to be made here. Make it.
I think you should have to choose between doing interviews and doing a review. And
I agree.
Sites used to have people who did the junkets and then critics, but now it's like the same person. And if you're just never going to say anything bad if you then have to interview the person the next day.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, it's so frustrating.
Dude, none of these people can be true. It's embarrassing to see. I mean,
yeah. I agree. Anyone doing interviews should not be reviewing the movie. Hey, Rocha and Sneider, have you seen the new Jim Cummings short film, Is Now a Good Time? An absolute must-see for Marvel fans. Cummings plays a Disney employee who shows unreleased Marvel films to dying kids. Dark but hilarious. Nails Disney Marvel. I have not seen this. Jeff, have you seen this?
I did see it. I thought it was fine. It was like a decent idea for a short film, but I don't think that stuck the landing either.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a clever idea for a short, but it was not entirely successful.
Okay. Tobias says, disagree with Jeff. In a Spider-Man movie, the important ones are Spider-Man himself and the villain. And as John said, Challengers didn't do that well. And it had a big marketing budget. Don't think it got the money back with $95 million.
I don't know. Stop. Whoever this person is, let me tell you something. What you're just saying right now is you're arguing that this movie would be better, / more successful without Zendaya. That is
successful without Zendaya.
That is what he is saying.
Yeah.
And that is obviously wrong. Obviously.
Okay. I'd have to think about it. I don't know that I agree, but I'd have to think about it. Anthony, because there are plenty of Hollywood actresses around the same age who might have gotten the same kind of cultural footprints from that movie and been able to bring those fans to
If you're the producer of this movie or the executive, like, okay, whoever
you mean Spider-Man 4? You talking Spider-Man 4? Okay.
Yes. Whoever sent in that comment.
Sure.
You've now been hired as the producer or as the executive at the studio. You're telling me you're going to make that trade for Zendaya for an actress to be named later? Could be Jenna Ortega, could be Jennifer Lawrence, could be somebody else.
I think you can make a case to make that trade. Yes.
That's an insane trade.
Okay. Anthony B says, you have a good American beer with Powell, but a glass of French wine with Chalamet. I like that both actors are stars. Dune, that's a good point. Dune 2's success really helped Chalamet attract some male fans he probably did not have in his corner before. Bring on Dune 3. Yeah, Jeff, Chalamet is he now everyone's favorite male actor?
No, but
Okay.
but everybody, I mean, that last movie was really good, and he was really good in it.
He was. You're right. Sherlock said, I was watching y'all's show and my girlfriend walked by and she was like, oh, is that the bald movie guy on Twitter who leaks Sydney Sweeney news? And I was like, Jeff Sneider? And she was like, yeah, that dude is hot. Jeff, you bastard. Don't steal my girl, man. Yeah.
What?
Middle school Jeff coming through there.
I'm like stuffing goldfish into my face. I had no idea where that story was going.
Look, some men like a man like that. Or some women rather. Orange Chicken Burrito says, yo, bros, I was wondering, Jeff Sneider, bro, and John Rocha, when are y'all going to get baked and order some dank-ass burgers, have a sleepover, and get some chips and ice cream? Binge and murder.
Dank-ass burgers with chips and ice cream on top, baby.
I love it. I love it. Shane X17 says, did you hear about the rumors that Mango was a tyrant on the A Complete Unknown set? To be fair, these rumors do come from the Daily Fail, but Searchlight did respond to them. Oh, who cares?
A tyrant.
Yeah.
Director.
Yeah.
Director making people do things.
Anything from the Daily Fail is not worth it.
It's kind of in the job description is tyrant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got to get the performance. Wiley OFC.
This movie was rushed too, John. I mean,
Yeah.
they rushed this movie out because Searchlight doesn't have another awards contender.
I remember we've been reporting on you were breaking casting news on this show for that film. Wiley OFC says, I deeply miss badass ending credit songs like in the end of early 2000s movies. Bring that back, please. It has never been the same. Yeah, I gotta agree, Jeff. We used to get soundtracks galore back in the 80s and 90s. The last 10 years, 15 years, it's scores that have been the calling card, not soundtracks necessarily. What do you think about that? Should they bring that back here? Badass ending credit songs?
I think it's because soundtracks have become like these compilations of like popular songs rather than like cool
original
songs.
Yeah.
I mean,
like we saw with Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah. Like with like Twister, obviously, like Van Halen. I so closely associate Van Halen's music with Twister,
Right.
And now this new one is just like, we're gonna throw all the hot country pop stars on the soundtrack, and I'm like, okay, it's probably selling great because country music is cool for some reason again now, but like, I'm like, that's not for me. I'm not listening to that.
Okay, fair point. All right, those are all the Streamlabs and Super Chats, I think, from everybody. Thank you all so much for sending them in, and thanks for the lively chat. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Wednesday. We're doing Wednesdays one more week, Jeff, or are we going back to Thursdays next week?
I think it's one more week. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I've been getting got this side hustle stuff down in the OC, and the traffic's so bad. I can't commit to being back by 4:00. So
yeah, that's fair. You should just come here. We'll record it live at my house.
I should.
I mean, I feel like it's
invite me down.
Yeah, come on down. Let's tentatively say next week you'll come on down. We'll do it live on the channel. You come hang out. We'll get dinner or something.
All right, let me look
at your schedule. Why don't you look at your schedule? But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. Thanks for the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Jeff and I both very much appreciate that. Jeff, please let people know where they can find you and to sign up to your newsletter.
TheInsnider.com, guys. We're going to have our first ad tomorrow. We're sending out an ad. So if you already subscribe and you get an email from me that doesn't have a normal looking subject line with news in it, it's an ad. Click on it, please. They'll keep buying others.
There you go. As for me, at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please subscribe to the channel down below and hit that bell button and look for Comic-Con coverage for the next few days. If you definitely follow my YouTube, because I will absolutely be doing just like random live videos on the YouTube there where I just put it up for people who are followers of me there on this channel. So look for that kind of stuff coming from me as well. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode next week of the Hot Mic. Peace. Until then.